Welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Quinnell. Women's wrestling has been a hot topic in the wrestling sphere lately, with criticism being levied against both AEW and WWE for their booking of their respective women's divisions, not giving them enough time, meaningful stories, etc. WWE got a shot in the arm in the form of Jade Cargill signing with them, but Becky Lynch spoke to the New York Post recently and has her misgivings about WWE's booking of the women right now. Currently, we are a little light on women with credibility on Raw, so any way I can give these women, who are great, credibility, give them a match, giving them an outing and showcase them in a championship match, I think that only benefits everybody. I need people to come up. I need people on this level, but if nobody's getting any TV time, if nobody's getting any story time, then they can't rise up because nobody knows who the hell they are. She then specifically named Zoe Stark, Indy Hartwell, Xia Li, and Candice LeRae as people who have the potential to be elevated to another level. Becky also noted in the interview that she did indeed request to work with Tegan Nox for her NXT Women's Championship Open Challenge on Raw a couple of weeks ago, but was booked to face Natalya instead. She then finished by saying, "I'm very grateful for my time, but I want more time, damn it," which seems to be the most common complaint among fans and talent alike, is that they just want women's wrestling to be featured more. They just want more time. And it doesn't seem like a particularly crazy request when there's 3 hours of Raw, 2 of SmackDown plus NXT and PLEs for WWE, and 2 hours of Dynamite, 2 hours of Collision, and 1 hour of Rampage per week for AEW. Something else that's been in the wrestling sphere in the past week is the unfortunate match between Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix on last week's Dynamite, where due to Moxley receiving a concussion early in the match, an audible was called and Fenix won the International Championship. While the immediate ramifications are obvious, meaning that whatever story was planned for Moxley and his title reign had to be shelved, there was something much more immediate that had to be pulled too, as Fightful Select is reporting that right after Moxley was scheduled to successfully retain his belt, there was an angle that was supposed to happen. This angle would have seen a non-AEW wrestler appear and challenge Moxley for WrestleDream. However, when the winner was changed, the angle was also reportedly pulled. Considering that we have a Zack Sabre Jr. and a Will Ospreay on the card for WrestleDream, I think it could be a safe bet to say that this non-AEW wrestler would be New Japan shaped, though that is obviously just speculation on my part, which is a massive shame if they had some big plans for the Mox match. In the finish of the Moxley vs Fenix match, referee Rick Knox didn't count the 3 despite Moxley's shoulders being down, resulting in another piledriver needing to be hit for the 3 count to go through, and Fightful Select is reporting that while Knox is liked backstage, there was heavy heat on him for this botch in the company, as this wasn't the first time something like this had happened with him as referee. Now, as Ollie is on holiday in Japan, we'll be heading to Luke shortly, but first, a message from everybody's favorite, Turbo Jake.
And that is why the chicken crossed the road. Oh hey, I'm 80s Wrestler Turbo Jake. And did you know that you can get your own customized shout out by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, just like these awesome pledgehammers right here, like Thomas, the prize hooker, Solazano, where there's a Will Campbell, the machine gun, Alex Anderson, the roller coaster, Robert Acosta, the Black Plague, Butch Rosser, Champion, Zero Fear, Hitman Soul, the Cleaner, Kenny Shaw, the British Bulldog, Fitter Boy Jake Smith Jr. He can last short for longer than you in the ring. He ain't lasting longer than Turbo Jake, let me tell you that. Starbucks, Stephen Costa, and Shield Maiden, the Zornice. Get your own shout out today, as well as loads of other exclusive content by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk today. You can pledge there, you can get this shout out, you get me to say it like this, but for your name. You want that? Of course you do.
Thanks there, Turbo Jack. It's now Thursday, so you know what that means. It's time for my review of AEW Dynamite, the go-home edition for WrestleDream edition of AEW Dynamite, in about 5 minutes. Last week's Grand Slam was a mixed bag. The in-ring action was fantastic, but it was marred by the accidental injuries of both Adam Cole and Jon Moxley. As Pete covered in the news, this meant that some plans have had to change for this weekend's pay-per-view, and when plans need to change, you must pull the emergency lever. And in this case, and is always the case, the emergency lever makes a bree-woo, bree-woo, bree-woo sound. Because the opening match of this week's Dynamite was Rey Fenix defending his newly won international champion against Team TNA's Jeff Jarrett. As one would expect, this was a well-heated match, and it featured all the usual Team TNA shenanigans, as Phoenix essentially battled 5-on-1 to retain his title with an inside cradle. Satnam Singh got involved, Jay Lethal got involved, and Sanjay Dutt accidentally put his hands on Karen Jarrett's breasts. You know, wrestling. There was some concern last week, from me in particular, that TK might not be able to pivot his plans for the International Championship, as he often doesn't deal well with changed plans, but a good title defense here and a huge match set up for next week is at least a step in the right direction. MJF and Cole hung out on a boat, don't you ever forget, where Maxwell wanted to ask Adam why he spent so long on the phone to Roderick Strong that it made him late to support him against Samoa Joe. Cole explained that you can have more than one friend, a strange concept to young Max. So strange, in fact, that he got the Dynamite diamond ring out of a beer cooler with the intention of turning on Cole and throwing him in the sea. This legitimately got a reaction from the crowd, like an actual audible gasp, but Max didn't turn, and then they caught a big fish. Wait, that's not a big fish, it's a big show! They then shared a beer with Captain Insano. You know, wrestling. Don Callis and Takeshita wanted to beat up Kota Ibushi so bad, they traveled all the way to Japan to do so. Watch out, Ollie! Don Callis is in Japan! Stay safe, man! This was an effective angle to build their trios match this weekend, as Don and Sammy cut promos on Ibushi, Omega, and Jericho. Like, yeah, it was fine, but for all the fineness of it all, it would have been better if Omega, Jericho, and Ibushi had been there. Ricky Stark said that Bryan Danielson couldn't finish the job on Collision, and a match was made between him and Wheeler Yuta for WrestleDream. Rey Fénix's next challenger was revealed in our following triple threat, as Nick Jackson took on Claudio Castagnoli and Brian Cage, the winner of which will face Fénix for the title at the Anniversary Show next week. Gee, I wonder who will win here. The crowd were electric for this wild and fantastic action, and it was a fun finish as Claudio hit the Ricola bomb on Cage, and Nick Jackson did a surprise springboard Hurricane Rana to Claudio to send him out of the ring and land on Cage for the pin. You heard that right, he did a sneak attack springboard Hurricane Rana. Tremendous! And it sets up Nick Jackson versus Rey Fénix on the Anniversary Show, playing back the all-time classic Dynamite match. But I think that's enough wrestling for now, because we're about to have not one, not two, not three, not five, but 4 talking segments in a row. The first was The Righteous cutting a video promo telling Better Than You Bebe that it's easier to forgive enemies than fake friends. And Better Than You Bebe came out for a promo segment to reveal that Adam Cole is indeed injured. And it's a bad one, folks. Cole basically explained that his ankle exploded and he needs surgery. Deadlock Pro announced on Twitter that Cole has been pulled from his November 12th appearance for that show, which means it'll be towards the end of the year before we see Adam Cole back in the ring, baby. And because of that, he has to relinquish the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. But Max doesn't want to. He knows how much these titles mean to Adam, so he's going to defend them against The Righteous at WrestleDream in a handicap match. He's going to keep these titles warm and ready for when Cole gets back. Adam! Came the call of Roderick Strong, who came out to tell Adam that he really needs to talk to him about something very, very important. Conflicted, Cole didn't know what to do, so he left with the blessing of Max, who learned that some people can have more than one friend. But if you thought that was the end of that segment, you'd be wrong, because Jay White then came out. Kind of like how with Swerve interrupting Adam Page a few weeks back, this really made me sit up in my seat with a, I hadn't thought about this combination, I'm super into this. The two cut fantastic promos, with Max telling Jay that he is just a mass-produced idea of what a top guy looks like in Japan with everything provided to him, while Max is an actual top guy who made a name for himself without being handed the keys to the biggest faction on the planet. A fired up Max wanted a fight, but Jay White left. An excellent segment this was. And the talking continued as Darby Allin and Christian Cage had a brilliant sit-down interview with Jim Ross to hype their match this weekend. Oh yeah, this is a wrestling show, isn't it? And we got some excellent wrestling with fun PWG action with a fatal 4-way between Austin Gunn, Matt Jackson, Pentagon Jr., and Orange Cassidy. This was all about giving the crowd a fun spectacle, and they got that with a series of Canadian Destroyer spots and an orange punch from out of nowhere for an Orange Cassidy win. Because it turns out she's a surprising ratings draw, Julia Hart got more TV time this week and had a great match with Willow Nightingale. Finish saw Willow get Julia in the Tree of Woe, but Hart popped up to avoid the cannonball and hit a lovely moonsault for the win. The women's division has its issues in AEW, but there is no denying that Julia Hart has improved massively over the last couple of years. She is 21 years old. And she was also the main event, as the last thing on the show was a contract signing between Swerve Strickland and Adam Cole, which featured more fantastic promo work from both guys. They all brawled, and that was the end of the show. Or was it? As they cut backstage to find that Jay White has been attacked by retribution ordered by a man in the MJF Devil mask. Maybe I'm a basic bitch, but this angle, along with the promise of a new era of AEW kicking off this weekend, this intrigue really made me super stoked for WrestleDream and next week's Dynamite, or even this weekend's Collision. But this was an odd show this week. Like, every segment was great, every match was great, but the long stretch of talking and only 4 matches meant the show felt really like off balance. Like, I loved everything, but I think it's a 3 out of 5 show. I may be tempted to bump it up to 4 for that closing angle. So it's a 3 or a 4. I'll let you decide. Is it a 3 or a 4 show? You tell me in the comments down below. But hey, go and check out this video here where we fantasy book how you could do Jade Cargill's WWE debut and enjoy this outtake of me trying to do that crash zoom spot. They all brawled, and that was the end of the show. Or was it? Sorry, I knocked over a battery. I'll try that again without any accidental knocking over of things. I've now lost my place. Where am I? This is all falling apart. I can get this right. 1 second.